Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Young here. Welcome to everything we know about PlayStation 4. I have compiled all the information that has been released through the press conference and after the press conference, which you may have missed. Time is of the essence, so let's dive right into it. Let's talk about what was revealed within the conference first, and I'll start with hardware. First things first.
This is the foundation of our next generation platform, PlayStation 4.
PlayStation 4 is the official name of our new device. Now the thing is, they never actually showed off the console, which I found rather weird. I guess they want to save something for the upcoming E3, but whatever. They did reveal a good portion of the specs. Boasting a PC-like architecture that is, quote, supercharged. It will come packed with an x86 CPU with 8 cores, a highly enhanced PC GPU, which they didn't talk too much about, 8GB of GDDR5 high-speed unified RAM, and local storage with hard drive, although the specific sizes and bundles were not revealed. Yes guys, this is a very powerful device with the architecture of a modern PC, so not only is it powerful, but also easy to develop for, unlike PlayStation 3's cell processor. Now, while we did not see the box itself, we did however get a look at the new DualShock 4, the official name of this sexy new controller. The triggers look vastly improved, the design looks sexy and curvy, sticks are now concave, the touchpad fits in nicely, the light at the top of the controller gives it a very high-tech look to it, and in my personal opinion, it looks comfortable and sexy. Other improvements they mentioned include better rumble, less latency, the new share button, which replaces the select button, and, which I'll get to in a minute, the new option button, which replaces the start button, a headphone jack, and interaction with their new stereo camera, which tracks the controller in 3D space using the controller's light, which kind of acts like the PlayStation Move light ball. So yeah, specs and hardware-wise, I got what I expected. And those wondering how powerful is this GPU, well, they demoed a footage with 1 million objects on screen at once, all running on the GPU alone, and the PlayStation 4 handled the tech demo with ease. And then out comes Mark Cerny, who is the man behind acclaimed games like Ratchet & Clank, and now one of the leads in developing the architecture of this new console, and talks more about the architecture of the system. He reveals various features, one being the ability to suspend the system into a low power state, but still resume games and applications instantly after booting, done by storing enough data in the 8GB GDDR5 RAM. Other features include their focus on ease of use for their new user interface, which we get little glimpses of throughout the conference, a secondary custom chip that allows for background processing, meaning downloading a game while playing another at the same time, as well as various multitasking functions, and even the ability to play a game as it downloads. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the game will download key data and then download the rest as you play. Now that sounds fucking awesome. He also talks about social aspects of the console, such as the previously rumored and now official share button, which will allow players to share footage of their game with a click of a button through the PlayStation Network and their social medias. After Mark Cerny's speech, the CEO of Gaikai was brought on stage. If you haven't been up to date, a while ago Sony bought Gaikai for some, $380 million. Gaikai, for those who don't know, specializes in cloud service. And guess what? That's exactly what they are bringing to the PlayStation 4. With their service, which will be integrated with the PlayStation Network and the PlayStation UI, players will be able to do things such as playing demos without having to download them, jump right in without any wait, and engage in a gaming social network environment. With Gaikai, players can also spectate their friends as they play a game live. Players can instantly start communicating with that friend, and if the friend allows it, players can even take control over their friend's game to help them out. That sounds pretty cool actually. However, I don't know about you folks, but I don't want to be stalked through the camera while I play. I'm sure the console will allow players to enable or disable the feature, so I'm not too worried. It sounds like a lot of fun when it's a planned gathering, but now I'm going to be paranoid thinking maybe somebody's watching me through those cameras without my knowledge. Oh shit. Okay, moving on. Then they start talking about remote play, the ability for other devices to interact with the PlayStation 4. For example, the PlayStation Vita can be used as a controller, or players can play their PlayStation 4 games on the Vita screen like the Wii U. Unfortunately, the Vita is missing 2 trigger buttons along with the joystick buttons L3 and R3. Sure, you have that back touchpad on the PlayStation Vita, which can be used as touch buttons, but it's far from comfortable and ideal. If they can bundle in some kind of a stand for the Vita and have players control the game game with a DualShock 4, this could work. Food for thought, we'll see what happens in the future. But yeah, they are heavily pushing remote play, trying to reduce lag, integrating Gaikai to enhance experience, and build remote play into PlayStation 4 to fully support this feature. Then they proceed to talk about their approach towards building the PlayStation 4. The guys at Sony actually approached developers to chip in on what they like and what they don't like. They really took a lot of feedback from developers. The developers actually had a huge influence in the final hardware of this new PlayStation, both in terms of specs, architecture, and development environment, which is refreshing to hear, considering what a pain in the ass it is to develop for the cell processor, which is why sometimes PlayStation 3 games came out choppier than its Xbox counterpart. They also talk about their philosophy with PlayStation 4, which is that they want gamers to always be connected to the console, even from outside the living room. They're planning to achieve this by integrating smartphones, tablets, the PS Vita in the mix, and they also want the PlayStation 4 to have a fast interface that will make presses of buttons feel instant. This means as little loading time as possible, both in-game and out-of-game, with their new powerful hardware, and as little download time as possible with the ability to play while downloading the game, and with the PlayStation 4's ability to predict what you'll buy next and pre-download a good portion of the game before you hit that buy button. Now that last portion sounds really cool, but I don't think the PlayStation 4 will know exactly what I'm thinking of buying next, so as long as they don't go too crazy with this whole PlayStation 4 reads your fucking mind thing, this could be good. And of course, not only do they want to keep players connected to the PlayStation 4, they also want players to be constantly connected with each other through features like the share button and integration with handheld devices, along with Gaikai. And as far as hardware goes, this is it in a nutshell. Sony has confirmed that we can expect this console by holiday of 2013. Now, onto software shown in the conference. There were a lot of games shown off, which is exactly what they needed to do to get gamers on board, and all these games are very impressive. Before we talk about games though, let's talk a bit about the user interface. They didn't go too much into detail in regards to the UI, but they did show it off a bit during portions of the conference to talk about PlayStation 4's features. As you can see, they have these tiles going on, kind of like what the PlayStation Store looks like now, except more blue and colorful. They show submenus in which players can pick their games, and they also show off the interface of some of the online features like spectator mode, the share button when you hit that share button, and more. And this entire UI will be integrated with Gaikai. Alright, now onto the games. The first game that was unveiled was by Mark Cerny, the man behind Ratchet & Clank. This new game is called Knack. Not only does it look impressive, but it also looks very fun and charming. It's like an interactive Pixar movie. It's quite impressive. And with Knack's ability to manipulate hundreds of objects to transform, I see this game keeping players entertained for a while. The game also shows off the power of the PlayStation 4. The game interacts smoothly with all these little objects individually, a task that could have proved a lot more difficult with the PlayStation 3. The next game that is revealed for PlayStation 4 is a new Killzone game called Killzone Shadowfall, which shows the PlayStation 4's power in a more explosive way. As soon as the game loads, the graphical differences are instantly noticeable between this and last generation. Not a huge leap like from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3, but significant and noticeable nonetheless. The city is absolutely beautiful, the models, the lighting, the textures, all top notch. Eventually, we get to see some action segments which equally impress. Admittedly, this guy doesn't seem like the best player, but this demo showed what it needed to show. Next up is Drive Club, a new racing game that was conceptualized 10 years ago. The developers have been waiting for the right time and the right technology, and they believe the PlayStation 4 is it. They describe the game as a first-person racing game, meaning the game will always be seen through the driver's eyes when driving, when checking out the car, when doing anything. But they also emphasize that this game is very community-driven, allowing players to create events and challenges that can be shared through smartphones and tablets and played on the PlayStation 4. The developer even mentions the possibility of making an event that lasts for days that can be joined by thousands of players. Very ambitious, and while they did show off what the game looks like graphically, fantastic by the way, the game still has a long way to go, but I'm still looking forward to the final product. Sounds really cool. Then out comes Sucker Punch, the guys behind the acclaimed Infamous series, with an all-new Infamous game called Infamous Second Son. The trailer was a teaser, but it reveals aspects such as the fact that players will no longer be controlling electricity. Players will now be controlling a hero with fire, allowing for new possibilities in terms of interacting with the environment and wreaking havoc. The title also seems to imply that the main character will be a descendant of Cole McGrath from the first 2 games. Soon after, the creator of Braid brought forth his new game exclusive to PlayStation 4, at least for now, The Witness. A compact, open-world game with 3.5 years in the making and counting. The art of the game is fantastic, with a bit of a cel-shading look going on, along with this magnificent open world that offers unique puzzles that eventually come together. The main theme and emphasis of this game is, according to the creator, epiphany. They want the players to go from totally clueless to aha in an instant as they solve these puzzles. Sounds and looks very intriguing. Then out comes David Cage from Quantic Dreams to reveal a teaser of their new game. And yeah, this right here is undeniably impressive. This is a CG quality model, and Quantic Dreams is looking to have models of this quality in their next generation game, whatever that may be. And if they can pull this off, I'ma jizz my pants. Seriously, very cool, ultra realistic, just ridiculous. Alex Evans from Media Molecules takes the stage next to talk about the Move controllers. Yes, folks, the Move controllers will be compatible with PlayStation 4. Now, while they didn't reveal any games officially, they did reveal a variety of demos, such as the ability to sculpt with the Move controllers and the ability to puppeteer characters with some really cool results. Some very impressive demos for the creative type. The Move also just seems to be a lot more responsive with the new stereo camera tracking it in 3D space, but hopefully they don't shove the Move into games like some gimmick. After Media Molecule's presentation, Capcom takes the stage to talk about their new engine, codenamed Panta Ray, the backbone of their new game, Deep Down. I'm not gonna lie, it kinda looks like Dark Souls, but there's no denying that the game is absolutely beautiful. And from the looks of it, this is how the graphics will look like during gameplay, and if they can achieve this, then, I mean, it's going to be like playing a giant CG movie. But yeah, game looks interesting, and hopefully it is backed up with some original ideas that help it stand out. Square Enix goes on stage next, and tell me if I'm wrong for those who were watching this conference, but were you as excited as I was expecting them to reveal Kingdom Hearts 3 or Versus 13? But no, they revealed this tech demo that I've already seen before. It's very impressive indeed, with real-time beard physics and shit, but come on. I want to see at least Versus 13. But good news, folks, Square Enix will be announcing a next-gen Final Fantasy game at E3. I hope they bring back what made Final Fantasy so successful and loved in the first place and learn from their mistakes with Final Fantasy 13 and especially Final Fantasy 14. That shit's a disaster. It doesn't end there, folks. It would not be a gaming press conference if Ubisoft didn't come to crash the party. Yves Guillemot, or however you pronounce that, comes on stage to give us another epic look at their new IP, Watch Dogs, as impressive and unique as ever. Yes, folks, it is coming for next generation consoles, first on PlayStation 4, and then it will go multi-platform to Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Wii U, and PC. Then out of nowhere, Blizzard Entertainment comes on stage to announce Diablo 3 for consoles. I'm sure many console players will be delighted, but us PC folks who have played the game already will know that this game in the end wasn't worth the wait. It is no Diablo 2. I guess the game did more poorly than expected on PC, so they're trying to milk it out by releasing it on consoles. I mean, whatever, it's great regardless that the game is reaching a broader audience for those who have yet to play the game. So, bravo, Blizzard. And finally, on the software front, out comes Activision's Eric Hirschberg to talk about Bungie and their upcoming project, Destiny. We get a first look at some amazing footage, and there's definitely that Bungie feel to it. I mean, it has that futuristic Halo feel. And at the same time, it has a completely different flavor, you know, with a new artistic vision, story, and ambition. Like the PlayStation 4, this game is expanding to be accessible via tablets and smartphones to allow constant access to the game. The game is also described as a shared world shooter, not necessarily an MMO, but similar in the sense that players will be interacting with each other a lot. How exactly? We will find out in the coming months. So there you have it, folks. On the software front, we have Knack, Killzone Shadowfall, Drive Club, Infamous Second Son, The Witness, an upcoming Quantic Dreams project, creative projects by Media Molecules, Capcom's new game, Deep Down, a next-gen Final Fantasy game, Watch Dogs, Diablo 3, and Destiny, all coming to PlayStation 4. It's a great lineup, and hopefully we can get as many of these on launch day or close to launch day. Alright, you still with me? I know this is a lot of information to inhale, but just a bit more left. After the conference, a variety of sources have managed to extract a bit more information. Most of these aren't good news either. That's why this information was not revealed at the conference. First, let's talk about a question that many of you guys may have. Is PlayStation 4 backwards compatible? I would hold on to that PS3 of yours if I were you, because the answer to that is no. However, do expect to be able to download previous generation games, including from PlayStation 3, via the PlayStation Store and have these games run in an emulated environment like we've seen Sony do in the past, or expect these previous generation games to be available via the cloud. These are two methods which will allow players to play PlayStation 3 titles, but which route Sony is pushing for, that is yet to be seen. Still kinda sucks though. I mean, people who don't have a PlayStation 3 will have to wait for certain titles to become available online, or they may have to resort to buying a PlayStation 3 along with a PlayStation 4, and those who own a PlayStation 3 will have to switch back and forth with the inability to transfer games over or to use their retail bought discs. I mean, console should be at least one generation backwards compatible in my opinion. Another news that slipped out was that while PlayStation 4 supports PlayStation Move, it won't support DualShock 3. This isn't really all that surprising considering how many new features the new DualShock 4 has. Also, there were rumors back in the day that PlayStation 4 would support 4K games. The answer to that is no. The console will support 4K photos and videos, but not 4K games. The leap to 4K will likely happen in the next generation. Furthermore, 3D is not a huge priority for Sony with the PlayStation 4. This doesn't mean PlayStation 4 can't do it, it certainly can, and better than ever before, but they're not really pushing it and emphasizing it like they did with PlayStation 3. The response to why was simply that 3D is no longer as big of a deal or as relevant as it was a couple of years ago. Now, for some good news, for those who don't know, there have been recent rumors that Sony and Microsoft are both planning to block used games with their next generation consoles. Well, I am happy to say that Sony has recently confirmed that used games are definitely compatible with the PlayStation 4. Thank God. I mean, what a stupid move that would be if they blocked used games. But boom, rumor annihilated. And finally, I am also happy to say that Remote Play, the ability to play PlayStation 4 games on your Vita, is a feature that will be available on day one. Now, not all games may support it, but games like Knack certainly will. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, everything about PlayStation 4 from every source possible compressed in one neat package. If you've watched through this video, you know everything you need to know about PlayStation 4, so congratulations and you're welcome. Now, of course, you should still watch the press conference, which has been uploaded to Sony's YouTube page and various other sources to get the more intricate details, but if you don't have 2 hours to spare, boom, you're welcome. I'll be sure to keep you guys further updated on PlayStation 4 and the next Xbox, so join the NASIAN and subscribe to Young Gear. I also cover AAA franchises such as Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Metal Gear Solid, The Legend of Zelda, Super Smash Bros., and much more. And also, let me know if any of these next-gen games interest you so much you would like me to cover it. Also subscribe to Young Gaming for my Let's Plays, so subscribe to both and join the NASIAN, because every gamer needs an Asian. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much, and Young out!